Composer and writer Joseph Curiale is on a mission. Late one night, a CNN news story about the epidemic of suicides among farmers in India and the plight of their widows caught his attention. An accomplished writer, poet, photographer, and Emmy-nominated composer, Joseph was so moved by the plight of one of the widows that he felt compelled to pay off her debts. Joseph has joined us to tell us his story. Joseph, welcome.
Love to be here.
Tell us about the widow Anjama.
As touched as I was by the story, I don't think I would have ever gone to India if it wasn't for Anjama. There was just something about her. I remember her eyes and the tears in her eyes and the dignity that she had despite this awful situation that she was going through. She didn't even have enough money to buy rice to feed her son, and so she says, how am I going to pay this debt? And it was soon after that I heard a voice in the back of my head, this is no lie, that said, pay her debt. And I was like, what? I mean, I literally out loud said, what? And that voice said, pay her debt. And I said, out loud, okay. And I proceeded to contact a friend of mine who was a producer of CNN to find out how I can get in contact with the CNN correspondent in India, Satinder Bindra. He put me in contact with the Minister of Parliament in that area, who was a big champion for the families. A few days later, I heard that same voice when I woke up and said, why don't you ask your friends for help? And I don't usually like to ask anybody, especially for money. And, but I sent about more than 200 emails, and mostly for people in the entertainment industry, art people, etc. And they were just immediately so encouraging to me. In a little over a month, was able to raise $9,000 from the original $1,100 that I was supposed to pay for Anjama's debt.
That's an amazing rate. 100,000 men killing themselves because they're destitute. They can't help their family, they feel, and the depression is too much for them. So the least we can do is to give a little bit. Each person just giving a little bit. All adds up.
We see lots of horrible stories on the news every day. We're inundated with it. How often do you hear of someone who's moved to do something? What made you think you could do this?
My gut told me immediately, do this. Deepak Chopra had mentioned, be careful for your intellect. It gets in the way, but your gut hasn't evolved to the point of having self-doubt. So, and I had just finished writing a book called The Spirit of Creativity with a whole chapter devoted to following your intuition. I have to walk my talk here, and I know it's the right thing to do, so I'm going to not think about all the million and one things that play in your mind about why you should not go and why you should not do this, including I don't have the money. There's something about when you make a commitment, the universe seems to give you what you need.
So I went on his website and I read his story and I was fascinated. So I called him up. I just called him up on the phone and said, I love what you're doing and how can I help? And then I sent him an email and introduced myself and sent him a check. And he was very grateful, and I said that I have this email newsletter that goes out to, I think, 21,000 people all over the world, and I would like to tell them what you're doing. So he said, okay.
Wait a minute, let's check this. I'm into my 7th month now, and everything that I've needed, from the people to the money that I needed to bring to them, everything has just been provided at the right time.
How many times have you been back to India?
In 6 months, I've been there 3 times. I seem to go like every 8 weeks or so. I find it to be quite miraculous. And in the 3 trips totally, I've raised almost $40,000. I'm now starting my 4th trip, and I'm back to square one again going, oh my God, where am I going to get the money?
What's the actual root cause of the problem here?
A complex of problems. For 7 years, there was a drought, particularly in Andhra Pradesh and other areas. It seems one of the biggest problems is the multinational corporations forcing genetically modified seeds and pesticides down their throat. It takes more water and more pesticides to grow those, and they already don't have the money. And then because World Bank issues and the World Trade Organization and the free trade policies, other countries are able to dump cotton and corn and all the other things at a cheaper rate than the farmers can compete with.
You're working with Anjama's village?
Yes, whenever anybody kind of heaps praises on me, I refer them to her and saying, you know, I'm not the hero of the story. I feel like I'm kind of a glorified delivery boy.
You actually take the money there yourself and you put it into their hands. You make sure it goes directly to them.
I made the promise that I would not let go of the money, that even though I was working with the Minister of Parliament, I was not going to hand him the money, and I was not going to channel it through his foundation. There was film footage of me counting out the money in front of a group of money lenders.
What can people do?
There is a website that is www.savinglivesindia.org. And on there's a donate page where you can donate by check or by PayPal. And so it's growing, and again, it just seems all the right people with the right heart and the right spirit. It really gives me the strength to keep going.
SavingLivesIndia.org.
Yes.
This is an amazing story. You answered the call. You can do it, we can all do it.
You can really do something. One person really can make it. I don't think that I'm very special. We all can do it.